right, welcome to another episode of the Final Percent Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Monday, by the way. I think I'm just gonna stay on this train for a little bit because it's something that helps me out. I think it helps everyone out, no matter what you're in. There is literally one thing that is going to change your entire life, and that is this one tiny itty bitty word called consistency. And when you look at consistency, it shows up everywhere. And it kind of goes back to the Jim Rohn saying. He says, an apple a day keeps the. Now, everybody who was just listening just said, keeps the doctor away, right? But that's not always the case because that's simple. That's easy. It's easy to eat an apple a day, which means it's also easy not to eat an apple a day. It's actually really easy for me to do one of these podcasts, which also makes it really easy for me to not do the podcast. So the thing is we have to remember in this idea of consistency, if you want to be a speaker, you got to speak. If you want to be in shape, you've got to move. If you want to be in business, you get the picture. But the thing is we get into this, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it later. And I think that we just have to double down on identifying what do we actually need to stay consistent in? I just went live in our Facebook group. If you're not a part of our Facebook group, it's the Final Percent Network on Facebook. I really invite you to go over there. We have fun over there. I go live every Monday. And I talk about, we consistently do all this stuff for business. Well, we should. But we don't do consistent stuff for the soul, like hang out with our friends. And we got to realize if we consistently stop and we're wondering, well, why am I not making progress on my business? But you're not staying consistent on your message. You're not staying consistent on your podcast. You're not staying consistent on your courses. If you joined us in Project 33, we're only asking you to remain consistent on small micro commitments for 33 days. And it's really hard for people to do anything for 33 days straight. That's not even 10% of a year. So what we are consistent on is we're consistent on our disbelief. We're consistent on our skepticism. We're consistent on our stopping. We're consistent on our negative attitude. And then we wonder, why is my life so difficult? Why is it getting hard? Why is it up and down, back and forth, sideways and out? I feel like I can show you the world. That was a reference to the sideways and under. Yeah, okay, you know what? I digress. But what are we consistent on? What are we consistent in? And if you ask yourself, what is the other side of the coin? If you consistently can't lose weight, that means you consistently don't work out, or maybe you do work out, but you consistently eat ice cream. You consistently overeat. You consistently binge. You consistently on the midnight snack. You're consistently doing something to get any results. And so we have to identify what those are. So, there's a lot of people you can't save your way to wealth. That's fine. That's true. I get it. But, there are tax advantage things that we need to do, i.e. anything in the Roth family of stuff. So are you maxing out your Roth IRA? Probably not. Well, that's simple enough to do, right? Yes, it is simple, but you're not doing it. We got to pay the price somewhere. So if you're going to pay the price somewhere, you might as well read the book. You might as well go to the seminar. You might as well show up and play full out. Because if you don't, then you're just wasting time. Then you're going to wish you shoulda, coulda, woulda, or you're going to blame the seminar, you're going to blame the coach, you're going to blame the people, the community, whatever it is, but you never played full out. You never stayed consistent. Now, just to be clear, I've been getting a lot of these things recently. People are like, oh, who are you talking about? You're talking to someone, Greg. I'm going to tell you the secret. I'm talking to me. There's no subtext here. If you think I'm talking to you, that's you convicting you, and you need to change. I'm saying this stuff because I convicted myself, and I realized, man, it is time to be more consistent in the little things. I do show up for the big things. I'll show up for people. I'll show out for people. But man, the little things are the foundation. The little things like hitting the podcast every Monday. The little things like going live in the Facebook group every Monday. The little things like getting that email out that, it only takes a little bit of time, but then you're tempted to just, I'll do that. I'll do that in an hour. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow morning. I'll do that before I go to bed. You got to prioritize what matters. So this idea of consistency, I'm going to go back to Project 33. It was beta for a reason, and I'm watching people fall off. There's somebody out there, and I don't know who it is, but there's someone out there who's going to say, Greg, where's my patch? Where's my patch? Because we're doing patches for anyone who comes to an event, anyone who goes to an event, anyone who completes Project 33. They're going to want that patch, and they didn't actually do the work. There's your problem. You want the patch, you want the result, you want the accolade, you want the status, but you don't want to do the work. Now, you know whether or not you deserve that patch. I heard Dale recently, when we were talking, he said, I'm restarting Project 33. Well, that means that he failed. But, man, this guy has some of the best integrity of anybody that I know. So it's normal for him to say, hey, I got to restart that. And he doesn't want the patch if he didn't complete it. You got to get around people who can hold themselves accountable. There's so many people who are playing grammar police and rule police and Facebook police, and who cares? You police you. Can you hold yourself accountable? Hold yourself accountable before you hold everyone else accountable. I'll tell you, you want the real secret? It's 2 C's. Consistency and contribution. Consistency and contribution. I will say it again for you. Consistency and contribution. Now, what happens, oh my God, if you consistently contribute? Oh my goodness. Your life would be completely different. But most of you will contribute something, and you wait for the parade. You wait for the dissertation on how awesome you are from everybody who was kind of in your proximity. Clap for yourself. Don't need other people to clap for you. And that's the thing, I see all of these masterminds and communities. It's hard to create a community. It really is. And truth be told, we've got 400 and some people in our Facebook group? Man, I'll bet you 15 or 20 people contribute. And of those people who contribute, 3 or 4 of them are like the real people who contribute. If you go all in, and you can't go wide with this, you got to figure out a few things that you can go all in on. But what happens if you consistently contribute? What happens, and this is in your family, this is in your job, this is in your learning, this is in your belief systems, this is in your listening to your Audible, your investments, your time investments. You don't follow through, and that's the real problem. You wait for people to clap for you, and you wait for people to tell you you're awesome. I didn't build the final percent by people constantly telling me I'm awesome. It's actually quite the contrary. I got called a cult leader. I got called a scam artist, a con artist. And by the way, that's every single company that I've built or any of my friends have built. Someone out there who doesn't understand or doesn't like it or is mad is ridiculing and criticizing the people who take effort. So if you look at communities, I want you to understand people most of the time the community leaders are not there because people were clapping for them the whole time. And they didn't go where they were liked the whole time. They did it honestly in spite of it. And quite frankly, that's one of the big reasons because I show up and I show up emotionally and with my heart and everything. I was honest with in our Wyoming retreat. I said, I want to quit every day, but I don't. I want to quit every day, but I don't. And sure, there's people who say, hey, yeah, Greg, you've really shown up for me. Hey, Greg, that's fine. But for every one person, then just look at the condition of the world. For every one person who tells me I've done a great job and that I'm changing a life or keep going, look at the way the media works. Look at the way that people work. Look at everything. That's for every one of those people, I've got 50 or 100 people saying that I need to quit or I'm a watered down Tony Robbins. Man, Tony Robbins can't sing like I can. And I can't do what he does. He's him, I'm me. There's room enough for both. But people ridicule. I was on and this is kind of personal. I listened to a sermon uh, at church. We still listen online and we drive around with our son. And I was listening to, well, I was getting through the music, which they actually had pretty good music, and waiting for the pastor to come on. And the pastor came on, and he immediately lit into saying life coaches were uh, basically demons, and you don't need a life coach, and you don't need motivational speakers, and they're stealing from the church, and they're using the Holy Ghost to entrap people. He immediately lost me. I turned it off, after like an hour of listening to the music. 10 minutes into the sermon, I turned it off, and I will never go back to that church. And why did he need to say any of that? There's a lot of life coaches out there that do a lot of great work. There's a lot of motivational speakers out there that do a lot of great work. Why do we need to attack anybody? So I'll leave it here, consistently and contribution, but not supporting something and attacking something are two different things. You can choose to not support things. I know a lot of great Democrats, and I know a lot of great Republicans. I know a lot of crappy Democrats, and I know a lot of crappy Republicans. But most of the time, the people in the crappy category, instead of not supporting the other side, they just choose to constantly attack the other side and bring the negativity in. It's okay to just not support and not say things. It's okay to choose that path instead of feeling like you have to tear things down and tear people down. That's not a good contribution to society. So I encourage you to identify what do you need to actually be consistent in. I guarantee you learning's there. Community is going to be there. Friends and family are going to be there. Love's going to be there. Financial literacy. But that's in learning. So this has been my, 33 cents of the day. But be consistent. Find something to contribute to. A community, people, ideas. And understand that when you do come at odds with another point of view, it's okay to just not support it. We've gotten too combative. I love this phrase. Conflict is inevitable. Conflict is inevitable. But combat is a choice. There's going to be people who conflict with your views. but that doesn't mean you need to combat them. It doesn't mean you need to shame yourself. A lot of people are going through combat with their self, their own mind. Forgive yourself. Choose to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. I love what my wife says to me all the time. She says, "You can be a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time." Always remember that. So, don't go to combat with yourself. Don't go to combat with other people. Conflict, yes, it's inevitable. Stay consistent in your values, your principles, your dreams, your friendships, your loved ones. I appreciate you so much. Find a way to go the final percent for somebody, including yourself today. And I appreciate you guys. I love you more. It's the final percent. The final percent.